What unethical life hacks did you use? My friend's brother has Down syndrome, and we use him as an excuse to cut in lines. Like at theme parks and stuff. He's super aware of it, and is totally in on it. He'll even start crying on demand to get in faster. Then we all do a celebratory high five. In college, parking was a goddamn nightmare everywhere you went. When I drove to my North Campus classes, there was no way I was paying anything to park my car for a 1.5-hour lecture. So early in the year I find out that getting a ticket only cost $6. It made more sense to eat any ticket I got than to pay for the parking every lecture. I probably saved hundreds of dollars in 4 years. Sprayed myself with a lot of cologne one time, massive amounts, when I had to go to a store when I knew it was busy, just to keep people away from me. No, I promise it wasn't today Black Friday, this was a while ago, but it absolutely worked. No one wants to be within 10 feet of you. I found out that when I paid my bills online, that both the online system and the people billing me didn't care about the cent parts of my bills. So I started paying only the rounded down amount. I probably saved like $8 by now. When I applied at my company 5 years ago, I listed a then coworker, N, as a reference, and gave the main phone number to my then employer. I was called to check the reference, and I answered. When they said this is M, a lawyer, calling for N about babogues, I said I was N, and gave myself a glowing reference. I used to get off work really late and have to rush to a fast food joint if I wanted to not cook. A few times I found that the workers were just happy to give me whatever they were about to throw out. 10-course fried chicken / burger / whatever meals just free. It was then I realized that when I identified the friendly workers and insisted on giving them a couple bucks for their generosity, they'd wait an extra 5 minutes for me if I told them I was coming by. Perfectly good food for 90% off, and nobody loses. It's not that bad, but I'm sure it probably annoys some people. The area I live in has traffic lights with left turn signals that trigger when there's enough cars in the left turn lane. I discovered that if you position your car a few cars back in the left turn lane, it will sometimes, depends on time of day / how busy the intersection is, trigger the left turn signal. I only use this trick if there are no cars behind me, and I usually get it 70% the time. I'm sure oncoming traffic is probably wondering why the left turn signal gets triggered for one car. At my old job, parking was $12 a day, edge of downtown. I'm hella frugal. I found street parking 3 blocks away in a neighborhood that had a 2-hour limit. I figured out that the parking maid only came by once, maybe twice a day. So if I parked there at 8 AM, as long as I moved my car around noon, I wouldn't get a ticket. Only got a ticket one time in 4 years. For whatever reason, it's not hard for me to find malfunctions in a system and find a way to get around it. One notable example of a life hack I exploited the fuck out of was a vending machine in my high school. They charged $1.75 per soda, and I went there to buy one every day. Halfway through freshman year, I discovered that putting $1 in the system and quickly pulling it out registered in the system, as if you paid whatever you were going to put in there. I spent some time familiarizing myself with it. If I was too early, this didn't work, and if I was too late, it would take my dollar. By the end of freshman year, I was getting roughly half of my sodas for free, and by the halfway point in sophomore year, I was spending an average of $1 per month on the vending machine. I was sad to see it go in senior year. The school was promoting healthier diets and got rid of all of the unhealthy vending machines across the entire school, including this Coca-Cola vending machine that gave me a free soda and a free quarter almost every day. The new healthy vending machines had the same flaw, but the food wasn't even good, so I stopped using them entirely. I call whichever company I'm looking to buy from, museum, clothing store, amusement park etc. what ages their student discount applies to. Sometimes it's 18 and under. So when I get there and request their student discount and they ask how old I say 17 or 18. I'm 24 years old, but 9/10 times people will guess I'm 15. If it's not a matter of age, then I just take out my college id. During the fall of my senior year of college, I was applying to a prestigious graduate program and was right on the bubble of getting in based on GPA, test scores etc. I was also taking a foreign language that I knew I would not do well in. I went ahead and submitted my college transcripts for admission before my final grade for the class posted. I ended up making it in by the skin of my teeth, including being waitlisted at one point. They could have always rescinded my acceptance, but that's a lot harder than not accepting someone who is right on the margins. Gala apples are visually indistinguishable from Honeycrisp apples under 2 plastic bags, and from a few feet away. Honeycrisp apples are usually 2 to 3 times more expensive than Gala. So just ring Honeycrisp up as Gala apples, and save $$. As a above average height, average build, able-bodied, educated white man, I find it very easy to put on a I know what I'm doing and where I'm going face and voice, and I can basically do anything. Access to many places, even just waltzing into a nicer restaurant to use the bathroom, is never a problem. Probably abusing my privilege. When I was in App World History I figured out so many ways to cheat to get myself through. BTW I wanted to drop it a week in, but I wasn't allowed. My teacher would let us go through the exam beforehand and work out answers as a class, but we weren't allowed to write anything down. I got around this by bringing a blanket to class and writing in my book. My teacher would hand out past papers written by students and submitted online to give us an idea of how to adjust to writing an app style. He said he had a plagiarism checker, so don't bother copying. I looked up the plagiarism checker and found that if you just changed a few words it wouldn't get picked up. I noticed the smartest girl in our class did her exams by putting the paper on her binder and leaning back. I sat behind her whenever we didn't go over the exams. Just being curious I googled a quiz question and found the whole quiz online. I never got anything besides an A for the rest of the year on quizzes. Back when credit card companies offered price protection, I would buy random crap off Amazon at full price and find an ad for the same item on a different site for a lower price. I would submit the claim to my credit card company and then cancel the Amazon order and pocket the price difference in cash. High school gym class, worst chapter of my life. Teacher would make us wear heart rate monitors every so often. How to get away with not working and still make the heart rate. Caffeine. Every time she would take out heart rates I'd make sure to drink coffee before and barely move a muscle. The ski resorts at Lake Tahoe will give you a free lift ticket if you fly in the day you arrive. You have to have a boarding pass to prove you flew in. Southwest Airlines will let you keep changing your flight without penalty. So you buy one airline ticket for the ski season, book a ticket for when you want to ski, print your boarding pass, change your flight, get free lift ticket. This is really only good if you live near Reno. Live or work in a city with meters? Sick of paying them? Acquire the following minimum items. 2 to 3 large traffic cones, in-state license plates, clipboard, neon safety vest. Dress nicely. Park on any meter in broad daylight. Hop out in your safety vest /clipboard and place cones around your vehicle. Nobody will question that it isn't official. If you want to break the law there are usually actual signs that go on parking meters that say reserved. You can steal one for personal use. As long as it's out of the way, you don't even need to park in a real spot. Bonus effectiveness if you drive a neutral colored pickup truck or it's anywhere near a construction site or event. I park in park lots all the time and never pay. I have likely a few hundred in tickets with them, but they mean nothing. I'm sure there are people out there with a couple thousand. They rely on people assuming they are real and will just pay them. They even have a fake credit collections company call and threaten your credit score. They probably could sue me, but by now, if it does happen I'll still be saving money long term with the savings from not paying for parking. Kinda scummy, but I feel like they are a shitty company with how they run their business with their high priced tickets and bogus credit threats, so fuck 'em. During college, when I got behind on a paper, I submitted corrupted files titled like my paper that I was still working on. By the time the professor checked the papers I had an extra 2 to 3 days to finish working on it. It helped at the time. That was one of the few people in the college that had a MacBook. I have a huge unsightly scars on my back after a serious motorcycle accident last year. Had to have a large chunk of my lower back removed due to necrosis from internal bleeding. Subsequently had a near 5-month hospital stay. I still have trouble walking, but just back quote get on with life. But sometimes I park in disabled parking bays outside of supermarkets, only if there is more than one available, and if anyone confronts me and says hey, that's for disabled people, I casually lift up the back of my shirt and show them the near faint inducing scars and proceed to say hey, that's for judgmental people, and then walk off whilst they are in utter silence. I like to see it as making the best of a bad card I've had dealt. Pirating anime, although it's not as clearly unethical in this case as it would be in some cases. I do pay for Crunchyroll Premium after all, and mainly use that, but there's the issue of licensing bullshit and I want to watch anime that I can't watch in my country without piracy. They ain't getting my money anyway, so me pirating doesn't lose them anything. When I was in school, some teachers would have the entire class stand up and then tell students to sit down once she called their names to see who all did and didn't turn in their homework. Those who remained standing obviously didn't turn in their homework and would have to serve at attention. Whenever I didn't turn in my homework, as was often the case, I would just randomly sit down unnoticed as she was going through the homework and calling names. Management only gives limited parking passes for spots in our community. Each year they're a different color, and you hang it on your rear view mirror. Also each year, my mom makes an entire new collection of counterfeit passes, hand-drawn and lettered, colored for that year, then laminated with packing tape. Family and friends always have a place to park when they visit. Budget gyms, Tenjim, Vasa, Sky etc. usually have 2 tiers of membership, a $10 MO that gets you access to the weight/machine/treadmills etc, but not to the pool/spa/group classes/massage chairs/tanning booth, and then the $20 MO where you get access to those services. The only thing they ever check your membership status for are the massage chairs and tanning booths, and that's probably only because you have to get an employee to turn those things on. No one checks your membership status to enter the pool/spa or group classes. I've gone to these types of gyms for years and never once was I checked for the upgraded amenities. Now my job pays for my membership, so I'm fully legal, but before I had this job I only got the $10 memberships. When I was young and dumb, I went to jail and was charged with a felony. Before my court date, I got a jury duty summons. I wrote a letter saying that I had a felony case, so I wasn't eligible for the jury. Then my case dropped to a misdemeanor and was later expunged. But I haven't gotten jury duty since, and it's been over 10 years. Worked at Subway as a teen. If you put something on someone's sandwich that they didn't want, you have to remake the sandwich. That messed up sandwich? It's either trash or free food for an employee. We would intentionally mess up people's food sometimes just to get free food. Also, their bags of chips were free to employees if they were cut open or punctured in any way, so use a sharp knife when opening the case of chips and voila free chips. Then there was the cookies. The cookies had to pretty much be perfect or we couldn't sell them. I overdid this one and my boss caught on, but I would accidentally mash a cookie or two when pulling them out of the oven. She started charging me for them when she suspected I was doing it on purpose. When I worked in a call center, you were tracked heavily on how long your calls were, but only very loosely tracked on how many calls you transferred someplace else. Transferring calls doesn't take much time. So if your call time average is getting too high, fuck it, the next 10 people are getting yeeted to some other extension. I don't even care which one. Now my call handling time is great, and I'll maybe hear a single line about how my transfer count is a little high, but that's okay compared to having my ass paddled about handle time for 30 minutes every week. Not so much a life hack, but a hack for my former job. I used to work at a corporate restaurant as a server. Every holiday season and graduation season, they would run this promotion: buy a $50 gift card and get a $10 bonus card for free. Sweet deal, right? It was for me. Anytime a customer paid in cash, I would take that cash and ring up a $50 gift card, which got me the $10 bonus card. Then I'd use the bonus cards I accrued on random cash tables throughout the week, essentially giving myself an extra $10 tip on all of those tables. I made great money during those promotions. Cheaper produce. I'm a very honest person, dead serious. The one time I entered an organic sweet potato as a regular sweet potato because I was very hungry and only had some coins in my pocket. Kind of a life hacks for cheaper produce. Kind of felt terrible for a week. Bonus life hack. I wrapped the sweet potato in a damp paper towel and that was my poor little dinner. I use something that I guess you could call an unethical life hack, and I use it pretty much whenever I get the chance. I'm very good at phrasing things vaguely or in a way that is open to interpretation and at giving non-answers to direct questions. For instance, in a job interview for a kind of new age Y sort of employer, I once answered the question, how do you cope with stress? By saying, well, I just try to take a few breaths and stay in control. To which the hippie manager gets excited and says, oh, you do breath work? To which I reply, I find the breathing does help me maintain a positive attitude. Notice, I did not answer the question or confirm the speculation, but they loved it. I got that job. I've had people assume I'm a doctor before, and I just ran with it. Other things like that. I mean, if someone wants to believe something about me, who am I to correct them? If their belief is to my advantage, I will say one thing. At this point in my life I will correct someone if their misapprehension will be negative for them. If, however, it's just a positive thing for me, sure, I'm a doctor / lawyer / airline pilot, why not? Whatever. I keep a long memory knowing that if someone screwed me over and didn't care, there's a good chance they'll do it again. So if you find yourself with an opportunity to weaken someone, take it. I quietly helped my boss get demoted a couple months ago when I saw an opportunity. Life has been better since.